Welcome to Go Beyond Busy, the podcast for business owners who want fewer dead ends, better conversations, and more of the right clients. Christine Abela is based in New Zealand and works with business owners who are tired of chasing work that never quite fits. Each episode features practical conversations about running a business with clarity, confidence, and better systems. In this episode, Christine speaks with Tommi Murshed-Parrish from Convert More, Chase Less. Tommi shares why confidence changes how people respond to you, how strong client stories do the selling for you, and why the way testimonials are gathered matters far more than most people think. This conversation focuses on choosing your clients rather than auditioning for them, and on using real stories to attract the people you actually want to work with.
Hi, I'm Christine from Go Beyond Busy. I'm here today with Tommi Murshed-Parrish, who runs a business called Convert More, Chase Less, and he's in Malta. How are you today, Tommi?
I'm in good spirits. Thank you very much, Christine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. So tell me, Tommi, what's something that you've learned about running a business that you wish you'd known earlier?
So to answer your question, the more I'm willing to walk away, the more people try to call me back. The more we want people to come towards us, the more desperate I seem. And the more I was willing to, as a typically Northern English person, to go, I don't care anymore, get lost, in that politest sense, the more people suddenly took an interest.
So how were you able to use that in business? How does that translate into practical sense?
Well, it's not as bitter or as mean as it comes across when I first said it. In the past, people were treating me like I was auditioning for them and I was begging for their time. And actually, at some point when I went, fine, it doesn't matter, sure, whatever. I'm not saying it was literally like that, but suddenly people seem keen. No, tell me what. It's a bit like Monty Python and the Life of Brian, where he's given a speech, no one's listening, and suddenly he's about to walk away and he has an army following him. That's a slight exaggeration of the situation, but that's the thing I noticed when I lost interest in trying to get people to come after us. I was interested in making a sale for sure, but there was a limit to how much I would debase myself to get there. And in terms of translating that into business, it just meant I was confident in what I did. I always was. And I didn't have to make myself feel humiliated. I didn't have to make myself feel humiliated. It's one of those nights. I didn't have to make myself feel humiliated. It's been a long day. I didn't have to make myself feel humiliated or small in order to get the sale. And the difference in people's attitudes was night and day.
So have you been able to translate that into a business for yourself?
It's a philosophy that underpins my business. So it's not the business itself, but it does govern how I regard selling myself, if selling myself is the right way to put it.
Okay, so what does your business do? Convert More, Chase Less. What does it do?
I win people's best clients in under 2 minutes or less.
How do you do that?
I do that using high converting video testimonials that are filmed with in-depth interviews with people's clients. And then I edit those and take out the good stuff and put it in the right order to press people's buy buttons as quickly as possible so people can have the best choice of clients rather than having to pick from a pool of slave drivers, bargain hunters, and troublemakers.
So how does that look from a practical point of view? Do I have to go to Malta? How does it work?
No, I actually flew to Malta to do these at one point because it was all in person and I was carrying camera equipment. But when the pandemic happened, I had to make it all go online. And after a while, I was expecting people to demand that I come back in person to do things face to face, but they didn't really care about that. All they wanted was clear video, clear sound, and words that made people buy. The right people.
So walk me through, if I was your client and I'm in New Zealand, or even if I was in Yorkshire, but I'm not in Malta, how do I get one of your testimonial videos made? How does it work?
It's not quite New Zealand, but I've done Australia. So we'll arrange a time with the client. I'll make them feel safe that they're not going to be made to tap dance. I'm not going to try to manipulate their words. And they are just going to tell me their story. And then I'll get on a call with them. I'll record that call. I'll get them to open up and share their version of events and why the outcomes mattered to them, what the outcomes were, and why they cared. You got some money. Brilliant. What did you do with the money? Why did you care about that thing that you bought with the money? Has it made your life better? How does everybody else feel about that as well? They call it the 5 whys, as you've heard before, and you have to dig really deep to find out why something really matters to somebody, getting past all the jargon. Interview people in depth. And as I said, afterwards, I take that footage and I edit it in the order that triggers people's emotional responses the most, so that the right people buy from you, or they want to buy.
So it's an interview with my client rather than with me as the business owner?
That's correct.
Gotcha. So how do you ask the clients of the business owner that you're working with to do a video testimonial? Is that something that you include?
So I will send a script to my client that they can use with their client, and they can tweak according to how they would phrase things. But the 2 mistakes that people make is, one, they frame it as, you're going to do some selling on my behalf. They say, you do a testimonial for me, which is a vague word in itself and makes people uncomfortable. So I tell them to frame it as, would you mind sharing your feedback over a film Zoom call? We'd love to know how you feel. That's different, because people love to share their feelings. They like to know the spotlight is on them in a software. Also, the other mistake that people make all the time is they don't build up much of a client relationship apart from doing the job they were meant to do. Sure, the service was great, but other than that, they hardly keep in touch. They don't manage that client relationship. That client doesn't feel like they matter much beyond the work itself. And actually, there are ways to make that client feel like they matter, like you're invested in the success of their business. And a lot of people don't do that much. If you do that, you'll see more people agree to do testimonials. You'll also see an increase in referrals.
What does your client, the business owner, do with these videos after they've got them?
They put them out where they can be found themselves. So if a business owner has some good testimonials, they'd want to put them where they could be seen. They also might want to put them on their proposals, on their quotes, and in the hands of their network, the people who want to refer them. Because let's face it, most people are bad at referring us. That's why we often go networking, to get referrals through people, because we can't sell ourselves. So imagine how hard it is for somebody else to sell us. And so in the hands of our network or our previous clients or people who are willing to refer us is actually one of the most powerful places to put your testimonial. Do you know what? I would like to do it case by case. What's been your biggest challenge in the world of testimonials?
For me personally, I'm working with a company called Oxygenate. I've got a franchise of Oxygenate, and Oxygenate does testimonial videos, but they are done in person and they are done at the business place of the company. My problem personally is that Oxygenate is based in Auckland, which is way up north of the country, and I'm way down south of the country. And so when it came to actually getting a testimonial video done for me, I had to arrange a local videographer and then send all the raw footage up to Auckland and then get them to edit it and that sort of thing. So there has been one done very recently for me, a testimonial video. It doesn't actually name me. It's actually a testimonial video for Oxygenate, but it's been good. I haven't really done much publicity of it yet. But the biggest problem for me was that whole, you'd need to have somebody holding a camera, walking around the business type of approach rather than the online interview approach. Also, the one that was done for me was it wasn't an interview. It was just, I was there behind the camera asking the questions, but I wasn't heard. And it was a scripted thing almost. So yeah, it was interesting, but it wasn't what you're talking about. And it didn't pull on the pain points and the selling points of whoever might be listening.
So in response to that, I would say that usually most testimonials will add credibility. It's just some will add more credibility than others. Sometimes we measure the value of testimonials in their number. You got 5 testimonials. I've got 5 testimonials. We're doing equally as well. Not quite. The value in a great testimonial is mainly what they have to say about us. There are other things that affects it. So the quality of camera equipment does affect the viewer time to a point. And it does help in terms of branding that you can show you can afford this equipment. So that might be relevant if you're working with big companies. But I have to say, that is not a cast iron fact. And in fact, most of the cases I've been involved in, there were testimonials done over the internet and they made a big difference. It's not an ironclad, hard and fast rule. The one thing I will say is that a lot of people don't actually use the footage, the full footage. They make a small video. That's great. That is the main sales item. But they often don't use the rest of the footage for social clips, and they don't use it to pull the transcripts out. And these days you can use that for AI bots. I got that from a guy called Rory Mason. I nicked that, but that's the truth. You can actually use the whole interview and have a case study written on the back of it to be found by the AI crawlers, which helps your credibility further. Most people don't do the little periphery stuff that adds all these extra gains from the interview. I hope that helps.
Thank you. So how do people find you, Tommi?
I've got no life, so I'm always on LinkedIn.
That was Christine Abela with Tommi Murshed-Parrish from Convert More, Chase Less. For listeners who would like a sounding board for their own business, Christine offers a free business strategy session. The session is a practical conversation focused on where things feel stuck, what is getting in the way, and what might make the biggest difference next. Details and booking are available at gobeyondbusy.com, where you can find the link to schedule a time that suits. More episodes and resources from Go Beyond Busy are also available on the site. Thanks for listening.